starting the video. Here we go. Here, lean in so people can see me. Hi, world.
Are you beaming in over there?
Yeah, we're live streaming here.
Okay.
Is it going? You sharing?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. We hear Lauren and Jeremy are on their way. So we're gonna wait for them. Sure.
Yeah.
VIP.
Yeah. We should all just look.
Yeah.
Let me check for status updates. That was 3 minutes ago. It might have changed. Power's on. Fuck it.
Power's on. We'll just watch the stream.
I'm gonna set up for the first song. There you all are. We were waiting for you.
Oh, cut it out. I think that.
Seriously, they were literally waiting.
You cut it out too.
Yeah, that's why I saw the post.
We don't have any idea when we're gonna get it.
Yeah, everything in our home is screwed.
Yeah. I mean, for all the trees and things that are down in our neighborhood, I have no idea. I mean, major shit. I saw something I'd never seen before today at the lighted grid in Central. You know how they have that, what's the word I'm looking for? That enclosure that the traffic light is in.
Yeah.
The lights were blown right out of the enclosure. Like you could see straight through it.
It was wild, man. I lived near Sam Cooper, and it was apparently main focus was right up Sam Cooper and out I-40. Just followed it.
Yeah.
It was the first time I've ever been scared in Memphis.
It's insane shit. We couldn't stay, of course, we're gonna stay someplace else tonight because there's no way it's gonna
staying long.
So, it's pitch black, it's already like
Please sit up
45.
front.
Dog
It's
was
okay.
freaking out. Siren was right behind the house. My dad slept right through
Just
it.
what you want, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, it's made it too. Even what's going on there? Doing all right. How are you?
Thanks all for coming. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm Alex Greene. This is Tayler from Florence, Alabama.
Thank you. Jim asked me to do a demonstration of the theremin. I suggested to do more of a concert, but I will do a bit of talking in the middle about some frequently asked questions about the theremin, how it works, some history about it. There's a lot of mystery surrounding it, and anything that you might have heard about it, there's so many different stories. So the story that I tell might not be the exact correct story, and you'll hear lots of different stories about the man who invented it and why he invented it. It's really interesting. But as part of demonstrating, a lot of times a thereminist in a concert will put on headphones to tune themselves and to acclimate to the piano and figure stuff out. I'm just going to let you guys hear that, so you sort of see like what I have to do to find my pitches and find where my hands are. So to sort of warm myself up and get comfortable, I'll sort of show you what I have to do that to get started. So may I hear a C? This is my first recital. I was worried I would be a little bit shaky, and I am. Great. Yeah. Sounded ominous.
nerve-wracking, just for me to watch.
Okay, so I am going to tell you guys some stuff about the theremin, and then if you have any questions, I'd love to hear them. I'd love to try to answer them. I'm still figuring out the whole thing. As far as the invention of it, a lot of people think that Lev Theremin was a Soviet spy, and he wasn't necessarily at first. At first. He was a scientist, and he was experimenting with radios and electromagnetic fields. I'm not really sure why, and there's just not a lot of information about what he was doing. Mainly that he discovered that you could control pitches when you mess around with electromagnetic fields. The main thing is that he noticed that radios make certain sounds that don't have anything to do with, what's being broadcasted over the radio. And he wanted to figure out how to manipulate those sounds. So, I mean, you can see how this is like a radio, right? When you know that, that's pretty interesting that he was just messing around with radios. So he developed this big, huge thing. You've probably seen it, big, giant cabinet full of copper wires and tubes and all kinds of stuff. And he took it to America to demonstrate it. The main thing that's really awesome is that he met Clara Rockamore, who was a violin prodigy, and she had injured herself, so she was very excited to learn this instrument where you didn't have to hold it and struggle to play it. And that's actually the same reason that I started playing the theremin, which is, and I didn't even know that about her, but I was playing the violin and struggling with it and was like, God, I just want to play this thing that I don't have to hold or touch. So that was really cool to find that out about Clara as well. So she became very masterful at this instrument, and so demonstrated it with him, and they became close friends.
What year was that?
It was 1921 that he invented it, and just a couple years thereafter, he and Clara were touring and showing it off to America. So then he's living in New York City, and he's doing other inventions. He sold the patent to RCA. They're making thousands of theremins, and he's off figuring out how to make other things. So he also made a theremin cello that you sort of hold between your legs, and it's sort of like, what is the ribbon of a like a guitar ribbon? It's so you're touching this ribbon and making the volume with this stick, and it's such a weird thing. The theremin-cello. That's what it was called. He made other inventions. A fun thing that he did for Clara, actually, for her 18th birthday. So this motion detection that this instrument does, he incorporated that into a revolving table, where when you got close to it, the table would spin, versus when you got away from it, it would stop spinning. So he did that for Clara with a birthday cake on a table for her 18th birthday. And then he started experimenting with other motion detecting things, such as burglar alarms. The first one that was like, I saw this advertisement for it, it was to protect your baby. So people couldn't get close to your baby crib, an alarm would go off. So he's making burglar alarms, and then eventually figures out TV monitors. And that's when the Russian government took him. They were like, you come with us. We have use for you back in Russia. But that's up for debate too. No one's really sure what happened to him. Somewhere in the 1930s, he just disappeared, and no one knew where he went for about 30 years. And then he was finally found in a conservatory in Russia, in a lab, building all kinds of stuff. And all the stories say, you know, he did invent the bug, what is
Like a listening device.
Yeah. Yeah, so he was making all these devices at the command of the Soviet government. So he was a Russian spy. But that's not really what began this instrument. Anyway, other things. So Robert Moog, as a teenager, started building theremins from science kit magazines. So that's a really cool thing, that he sort of became who he is because of the theremin. He was building them and experimenting with them, and then wanted to make other devices, and therefore invented the synthesizer. I don't have a lot else to say. I guess I'm wondering if any of you have any questions that I might be able to answer about the theremin. Yes?
How does it detect the movement from your hand?
That's a very good question. So electromagnetic fields resonate outward from it. And I am a ground, so I interrupt the field, and the closer I get to the antenna, it creates a higher pitch, and the farther away I get from the antenna, it creates a lower pitch. So that's this one, is the pitch control here. And then this one is the volume. So they just have these two different sort of assigned qualities of how I affect them.
What's the word audible range in terms
Huge.
of notes?
Do you guys want to hear it?
Yeah, please.
So when I tune it to its lowest, there it is. So then this is as high as it gets. Right there. With me tuned this low. But now I'm going to tune it really, really high. Watch out. I can't tell you how many octaves that is, actually. I need to figure that out. It's a lot.
That sounded like a F sharp.
Also, it's different. Hang on, it's different everywhere I go. So my pitch thing sometimes is right about here in the middle when I'm in the range that I like to play. And then I might get to a recording studio and I have to tune it like way down to get to the pitch that I want to be. So it's always changing. It's a very frustrating and difficult thing about it. What changes it is the amount of currents going through what it's into. So if you have tons and tons of stuff plugged in, first of all, it can start to buzz and be really obnoxious. If I don't have everything plugged into the same breaker, it'll buzz and be obnoxious. Sometimes it just doesn't want to be in pitch at all, and it's very complicated to make it work for you sometimes. And they say that it's like dependent on the weather, dependent on the electricity in the room. I think it's dependent on my mood. It's very stressful sometimes going to a place and like, are you going to work for me today? Please, come on.
You don't know that feeling at all.
Yes?
I was wondering if you knew the actual frequency range.
The frequency range, I do not.
Not
I'm sure that's something we can look up. Yeah, thanks for the questions though, because I'm trying to get to where I know more about it and can answer these questions.
One more question.
Yes.
How many pedals can you really run it through?
Oh,
before there's
all
a
the
problem?
pedals.
All the pedals.
All the pedals, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good.
As long as they're
That's
all
all
plugged
right.
into the same as long as they're all plugged into the same power and you
So
have
what
enough
he's not
power.
asking is when can he connect his pedals?
Get yourself one. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just have a reverb pedal right now, but I go crazy with some pedals. It's fun. Yes.
I approve.
So does it
Yes, you
will it
would.
send like control voltage, or like can this particular one, or do you know ones that like can control other things, or this
I
one's
have.
a synthesizer unto itself, right?
I have this, we were calling it an umbilical cord, that is connecting me to Alex's Moog right now, actually. So the beautiful thing about Moog is he wanted all of his instruments to communicate with each other. We're actually about to demonstrate that a little bit. You'll hear, my volume's going to be completely off and you'll hear me affecting his Moog. You want, yeah? Yeah, go for it. It's very slight, but you hear it? Go ahead and to our next song.
Could I ask another question? It's actually two. What sort of proximity?
The drone going.
It's good for this droning
Yeah.
question. In terms of your proximity, I mean, at what point do you no longer have any effect on it? And also, if you put two theremins close to each other, do they interfere with each other?
Yes, they do.
Oh, awesome.
Yes, they do. It's a lot of fun. To touch two theremins antennae is a very scary sound.
Reminds me of the Coneheads.
Yeah. They squeal with excitement.
Sensors.
Pretty far away. If y'all weren't here and I was in an empty room, I could get pretty far away, and you're affecting it less and less the farther away you are. So my vibrato up here has to be tiny, and my vibrato down here is really big. And so when I'm really far away, I have to like flap my arms for you to tell the difference.
Dance
If you had a bigger antenna and more voltage, you could probably do some crazy stuff.
Oh, so another thing that Lev Theremin invented was a dance floor that was a theremin. And seriously, he instructed a dance troupe in New York City to figure out how to make a melody and a song standing on this platform, and they were all like, okay, but they couldn't figure it out because like you move a finger and it changes the pitch, you know, so it didn't really work out very well. But there's like a diagram of it with a huge amp and a huge stage and then huge coils. Theremin dance floor.
So a few years ago, there was it was recorded by the Guinness World Book of Records, the Theremin Choir.
Yes.
Which I period. It's really mesmerizing to listen to.
Look it up. It's 273 theremins.
And so there are some in like these little cat dolls,
Mhm.
and there are others that are like in the Russian nesting dolls, the
Mhm.
babushkas, or there's another name for it.
Yeah.
So there, I run an after-school program, and we have a couple of the small
Yes.
ones with the
Mhm.
use your fingers on, but we're trying to get one of those. But it goes. There are a couple of brands, but we plan to get some and do a small ensemble.
Oh, wonderful.
I've never seen it in person. I've only seen it online.
Can you let me know?
No,
I would
definitely.
love to be a part of a theremin ensemble. Wonderful. Any more questions? Yeah.
How long did you have to learn, play with it
Yeah.
before you were like, okay, I'm okay at this?
About 3 years, but only because I've already been trained a lot with the violin. I think that helped me a lot. I was able to figure it out pretty quickly and get in tune with having that ear training. But yeah, I mean, I still barely feel capable of like doing anything. Very slow. You'll notice all these songs are very slow. You'll hear Clara Rockmore doing violin concertos that are just like it's like I'm not there yet. But that's my goal. But yeah, I've been playing about 3 years. Okay. Get tuned. everybody know that song?
Oh, yeah. Side 2, track 1.
Oh, I wanted to tell you guys something else about how little people know about the theremin. I teach high school, and I asked them if any of them knew what the theremin was, and one kid was like, "Oh, yeah, it's the thing you control it with the wind." And the one other kid who had heard of the theremin was like, "You idiot, it's magnets." I was like, okay.
At least they sort of.
Have you tried wearing magnets, getting close to it?
I am scared. I don't want to damage it. I don't know what that will do because it's full of electronics.
Yeah.
When I get another one, I'll do some weird stuff to my old one. my volume okay compared to his?
Very well done. This room sounds amazing.
Tis the listening room.
another question?
Sure.
Only if he's gonna put a drone underneath.
Yeah, this is a long one.
Okay,
Alright,
this is
get started.
ominous.
Your hand, when you're playing in the lower register, your hand seems to be closed. As you get closer to it, it opens up more. What's behind that?
It's like, here's my root, and I'm getting like do, so, do, so, do, so, do, so, do.
But if you held your hand tight, close to it, would
Then
it
I
sound
can't,
the same?
but my notes are tiny up there, so
Okay.
I'm doing like little finger things to get my
Okay.
notes, versus down here it's
Got
like
it.
note, 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 note,
Got
do,
it.
do, 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 do.
I
Yeah.
imagine it's like the size of the wavelength
It is.
as like a low note.
Low
has a-
notes, and then they get
Yeah.
tinier, and which makes it a lot like a string, like a stringed instrument.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The frets on a guitar.
Right.
Yeah.
So, are you more visual with it, or is it more of like how far your hand is from your body?
Yeah, I'm really using my ears. Sometimes I have no idea what my fingers are doing.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's this far away, it's this far away. Yeah, and like there's a method to the fingers, and I've seen people that play really serious. Like, this is a D, and this is my D scale. Now I'm an E, and this is my E scale. Like I'm not doing that because I'm just hearing it and finding it. I know the distance. Yeah.
It takes a lot of energy.
It does. I'm exhausted. Yes, back here first.
I feel like you already answered this, but because I got here early or later, what is happening over there?
Do you want to explain this one?
Could you just do it again real quick?
Well,
Play the first.
there are these, that's putting out an electromagnetic field, kind of like a radio broadcast.
Or an aura.
So electrons are like flying out of there, and they want to ground.
I am the ground.
And your body kind of grounds the electrons, and the amount that you're grounding changes by how close you are to the metal. So you're grounding a little better and a little more electrons when your hand is close, and then you pull away and you're not grounding as much.
And if you
As
don't
I
have an
understand
old
it.
radio to play around with, and you're interested in this, maybe get an old radio, and you'll notice that it does weird stuff when you mess with it or touch it. Yeah?
But how does that turn into sound?
That is a weird thing.
That's like, it's almost like it's designed so the grounding, the amount of grounding is almost like turning a dial to affect the pitch with one antenna, or it's like turning a dial for the volume.
As you
As I
disrupt
understand
the electromagnetic field, it will act as sort of like a potentiometer, which is like a volume knob, and create more resistance as it goes through the circuit, and the more or less resistance and the frequency that it's going at it changes the pitch.
How anything makes a sound is a great question, and there's a lot behind that. Like when you press a button on a keyboard, how is it making a sound? It's a lot of electronics that do specific things. You had a question?
Yes. So, whenever you first started playing this, did you learn from anybody, or did you just it was just trial and error?
Trial and error, yeah, and watching other people. But actually, the first song that I figured out, because it was around Christmas time, and I'm a teacher and I play so much Christmas music that it's like embedded in my brain. Music teacher, so I'm like teaching little kids how to play Christmas songs a lot. And so the first thing that I did was play God Rest You Merry Gentlemen, and it made a lot of sense to me. There's this octave, and I found the octave, and I just started playing God Rest You Merry Gentlemen, and I was like, I just want to make who wants to hear an album like that last song? Right? Like a whole album of doomy Christmas with sentimental therapist.
I noticed the last few songs were in minor keys. Is it easier? Is that scale easier than major, or is it that's just how it?
I just like them.
As a former, shouldn't say former. I don't know. You may still play violin.
I do.
But I used to play violin. There's one upstairs collecting dust. But I'm very right-handed. And I always found it difficult playing violin, especially to get the vibrato. And I eventually got it, but it took years to really get
It takes
the
years.
awkward feeling to go away. And so in playing the theremin, you're playing the notes with your right hand. Is that more?
I like it a
comfortable?
lot better.
Okay.
Yeah, I love playing this instrument. It's very freeing. Yes.
Can you talk, sorry, more specifically about like the volume articulation? Like as far, you don't necessarily have to demo it, but.
No, I will. So I have a reverb going, and that sort of helps me hide that I'm going. So without the reverb, I might do a, so sort of change pitches. Right, so that sort of helps it all blend together, so you can't hear my out of tune-ness in between the notes.
It's actually much more drastic. It's just the reverb, like the volume control is much more drastic than it sounds, like with a dry signal. So
Yeah, so you use it to sort of swell. This is without the reverb. But then yeah, articulations. So it's a lot like a bow.
Yeah.
It's a lot like the violin. It's really fun. Yes.
What's the highest and lowest notes on
it sounds like it pretty much does the whole range of human hearing.
Right.
It definitely goes down below 20 hertz because it was making a rhythmic sound.
There's my lowest. There's my highest. Yes.
the lowest note, that's the farthest away you can play.
Yeah.
So you can't hear anything out of that.
Yeah. So, ooh. When I turn it all the way down, nothing.
And that's the sound of Pac-Man's death.
I think I'm gonna call it a night, you guys. Thank you so much. Be on the lookout for God Rest You Merry Theremin, the album. It's gonna happen.
If you recorded it at Alexander's, I want to do drums.
Okay. It's gonna probably just be synth. Only electronic instruments.
I got a nice djembe.
Thank you so much. I'll be in touch. I'd love to.
It's a Remo that you tune with the key. It's so much easier.
I'm not. I live in Memphis.
Now I've got.
I'm here a lot because you guys like my.
Hi everyone in internet land. Oh, there's the finish button. That's a wrap.
Yeah.